Thank you, Father Whitlock, Father Becker, Reverend Fathers, any honored guests, and my brothers. My vocation story begins, as many do. I was born and raised in a good Catholic family. My parents brought me and my siblings to church every Sunday, and they would bring us together from time to time to pray the rosary, and every night Mom and Dad would kneel down by our beds and pray with us before we fell asleep. These are some of my earliest childhood memories. I remember one day being at Mass, probably around the age of 5, and just watching the priest. And as the priest was celebrating Mass, I distinctly remember this thought popping into my head. What if that was you up there? Of course, as a 5-year-old, I didn't think much about this, and I quickly disregarded it. However, that thought would continue to pester me in the years to come. Fast forward to my freshman year of high school. At this point, I had come to understand that faith was important, and so I'd begun to take it into my own hands. At the same time, I began to hear these questions that I didn't have answers to. Where do you want to go to college? What do you want to go to school for? What do you want to be when you grow up? Not having answers to these questions caused me a little bit of distress. So in response, I began praying and asking God what He wanted me to do. And of course, what should come to mind but the priesthood? Of course, I ran from this time and again. No, that's not for me. I don't want to be a priest. The battle continued. Fast forward to the summer after my junior year of high school, and I'm still arguing with God. In the meantime, though, my pastor is assigned a seminarian by the name of Garrett Allers to live with him. Garrett was home from Rome that summer and was sent out to the boondocks of the diocese where I live. I was able to develop a wonderful friendship with Garrett in this time, and needless to say, really grew to appreciate having him around. However, summer came to an end. Garrett went back to Rome for his diaconate ordination and to continue his studies, and I went on to my senior year of high school. Going into my senior year, to no surprise, I was still engaged in the same battle with God. The idea of priesthood refused to leave me, and in response, I became angrier and angrier with God. Every time I tried to pray, it always ended turning into a silent screaming match between me and God, where I was the only one screaming. Finally, just a week or so into my senior year, after fighting for so long, I became exhausted and gave in. I was in adoration when I finally gave up and pleaded with God. Okay, I said, if this is what you want me to do, then I need 2 things. First, I need some sort of obvious sign that this is you talking to me, probably just because I was still in denial. And second, I need you to put the desire into my heart, because it really isn't there. 4 days later, my pastor, Father Jeremy, who was planning on going to Rome for Garrett's diaconate ordination at St. Peter's Basilica, received a phone call from somebody who has remained anonymous to my knowledge. This person told Father Jeremy that they felt that God wanted them to send Sam to Rome for Garrett's diaconate ordination, and they proceeded to pay for my entire trip, plane tickets, hotel rooms, and all. Father Jeremy contacted my mother that same evening, and my mother relayed the message to me. When I realized what was going on, all I could think was, all right, that's obvious enough, I'll take it. Not to mention that we then managed to make all the necessary accommodations for the trip before we flew out 2 weeks later, including expediting my passport. God answered the second half of my plea in the trip itself. In the 10 days that I was overseas, I had the opportunity to see the diaconate ordinations at St. Peter's Basilica. I saw much of Rome, Italy, and Lourdes, France. And it was in experiencing the beauty of the church in these places that the Lord planted that seed in my heart for that desire to grow, and it continues to do so. 2 weeks after we got back, I told Father Jeremy that I wanted to enter seminary and never looked back. Since then, I've grown and matured in ways that I didn't think were possible for me. And I'm so thankful for everything that SJB has done for me. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Now and forever.